And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Mr. President, in your meeting today with the Chief of Staff of the Pakistani Army, did you talk about Iran? Did that come up?
Yeah.
You can share from that
Yeah. Well, they know Iran very well, better than most. And they're not happy about anything. It's not that they're bad with Israel. They know them both, actually, but they're probably, maybe they know Iran better. But they see what's going on, and he agreed with me. Reason I had him here, I want to thank him for not going into the war.
Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ballistic Gist. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you will be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real MVP. Alright lovelies, let's get into today's stages of videos.
Donald Trump just posted something on social media blaming Obama for the situation that the United States is currently in with Iran. Obama hasn't been in office since 2017. It's 2025 now, and he's still talking about him. Donald Trump just posted this on Truth Social, which is an AI picture of Obama surrounded by money, and the caption says, "We know who's responsible for Iran's nuke program." But as expected, this is just more projection from Donald Trump, because actually it is his fault for Iran's nuclear program, not Obama, because when Obama was in office, he negotiated a nuclear deal with Iran that stopped them from getting a nuclear weapon. Under this deal, the International Atomic Energy Agency verified that Iran completed the necessary steps to ensure that their program remained peaceful. They provided access to their facilities to international investigators. They shipped tens of thousands of pounds of enriched uranium out of the country. But you know what happened to that deal? Donald Trump pulled us out of it. He got into office in his first term and abandoned the deal. And what do you know? Iran starts their nuclear program back up again. So he can post all the fake AI images that he wants. The truth remains, it is Donald Trump's fault, not Obama's. He hasn't been in office for years.
You don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. If it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do.
I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
So you guys mean to tell me that you hate Israel so much that you actually support the regime in Iran? Are you guys forgetting what this regime is, what it has done to its own country, what it has done to other countries in the region? You cannot sit here and claim that you care about human rights when, for one, you would not condemn October 7th, the day that it happened, and now you support the regime. So just because a country hates Israel does not mean you should be supporting their governments, because frankly, why would you support the Iranian government? In fact, there are so many countries that hate Israel that have horrible human rights issues currently taking place right now, and not a single one of you guys are speaking up about it. Oh, right, because the Jews aren't involved. I would like everyone to start wearing their thinking caps moving forward.
The hate that the left feels for Donald Trump has gone so far that leftists are now backing up and supporting Iran. Like Iran. You know, the country that was taken over by an Islamic regime 45 years ago in 1979, where women are not allowed to be seen in public or speak in public or leave without a male escort, where Islamic Sharia law is implemented in government form. Last year alone, there was a recorded 35 women who were put to death because of breaking Sharia law. Whether it was going outside without a hijab, without a male escort, or protesting. Before 1979, when the Islamic regime took over, women were able to wear what they chose, hijab or no hijab. They were able to get educated, and they were able to work. Now, because the hate for Israel on the left is so strong, they're backing an Islamic terror regime.
Why is it that every single news headline right now is trying to formulate this narrative that Iran struck Israel first? Israel made the first move. They struck Iran because they were scared of their nuclear power, and then Iran struck back in protection. Why is every single news headline saying otherwise? That's how you know this is just simply propaganda to make you believe that Israel is not in the wrong here. You have seen the way they have absolutely flattened Gaza. Whether or not you agree with their conflict and the roots of that, no human being community deserves to be wiped off the face of the earth by another. It doesn't matter where they're settled. It does not matter. No one has the right to wipe an entire civilization off the face of this earth.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is fighting Trump on the whole Iran thing. It all started when Tucker Carlson said that a bombing campaign against Iran will set off a war and it will be America's war. In response, Donald Trump called Tucker Carlson kooky and said that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And that is when Marjorie Taylor Greene defended Tucker Carlson by saying that it's not kooky to say that foreign wars will put America last, kill innocent people, make us broke, and ultimately lead to our destruction. If MAGA is a cult, then would Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, be publicly clapping back against Donald Trump like this? As for me, I definitely don't want a war, but I also don't want Iran, a country that chants death to America, to obtain a nuclear weapon. We might lose far more lives if Iran obtains a nuclear weapon than we will lose if we end up going to war. That said, I don't know that war is the best option to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. What I do know is that I'm glad that MAGA is in fact not a cult, and these leaders will argue and debate each other to decide what is the best option to move forward, instead of just coming up with a prescribed political consensus that everybody supports just because everybody supports it.
I'm honestly so tired of seeing uneducated people talking about America and Iran, especially privileged Americans. And yes, you are privileged. If you are an American and have never lived in the Middle East, you have no right to speak on this. You have no idea what's really going on there. What's even more annoying me is watching privileged Americans dare to speak out against the US, one of the best countries in the world to raise kids in peace. Yes, in peace. If Iran had chemical weapon, they would use that against everyone in the world. And it's time people to learn the difference between the Iranian people who are kind, who are nice, who are amazing people and living under a brutal operation, and the regime that rules them, which is pure evil. Iran is a rich country with poor citizens because they're stealing their money. They are stealing money from their own people. And I want you to know something. All the Iranian people happy with this situation. They all want just freedom. I'm a legal immigrant, and coming here was the best decision I've ever made. I get to raise my kids in peace. So to America, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for opening your door for me. Thank you for doing that for all of us.
We have some breaking news. Russia has just warned the U.S. that if Trump decides to go to war with Iran, it could create a nuclear catastrophe for the region. Russian state officials warned Trump that if the U.S. gets directly involved in attacking Iran, it will escalate tensions throughout the entire world, especially since Russia is deeply connected to Iran. Russia Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said on Wednesday this would be a step that would, quote, radically destabilize the entire situation. The head of Russia's SVR Foreign Intelligence Service, Sergei Naryshkin, has said the situation between Iran and Israel is now critical, and Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said the Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear infrastructure meant the world was, quote, millimeters from catastrophe. She also said nuclear facilities are being struck. Where is the concern from the entire world community? Where are all the environmentalists? I don't know if they think they are far away, that this radiation wave won't hit them. Well, let's look at what happened at Fukushima, referencing what happened in Japan in 2011. Folks, not only would U.S. involvement in Iran lead to so many civilians being unalived, not just from the U.S. bombs, but from the radiation fallout as well, but then you have the fact that Russia and Ukraine are still at war. Trump has not been able to get a peace deal signed there either. So that would be 2 wars on Trump's hands, and everything is getting worse because of our failure of a president.
They know Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. That's the only reason they're comfortable attacking them. because they know Iran cannot attack back with nuclear weaponry. And they arrogantly thought their Iron Dome was going to protect them. But it literally collapsed within 24 hours. A lot of people may have seen earlier videos where a whole bunch of Iran's weapons were being intercepted by the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome, by the way, actually shoots a missile up to intercept and blow up other missiles. But what they didn't get is that Iran was intentionally sending old missiles to wear out, to use up the defense. And once they felt like they had sufficiently worn down the defenses of the Iron Dome, then they started unleashing the heavy duty stuff. And Iran has hypersonic missiles. And I don't know if you've seen one of those on video. It is insane how fast they come in. You're not getting out of the way of a hypersonic missile. You may be able to see some other type of missile up in the air heading your way. You run for the hills. You're not running from a hypersonic missile. As fast as you see it, it's there. It travels faster than the speed of sound. So it hits you before you even hear it coming. They've also unleashed a new type of weaponry that we've never even seen before. Hey Siri, how many missiles does Iran have? It's going to be in the thousands. 3,000 ballistic missiles. They're going to level Israel like a parking lot.
Why would Caroline Leavitt now be announcing that Trump could take up to 2 weeks to make a decision on Iran? Well, you know what else happens 2 weeks from now? The 15-day window for the Privileged War Powers Resolution that was introduced by Tim Kaine, Ro Khanna, and Thomas Massie expires. At the end of that 15-day window, the House has to debate and bring a vote to the floor on that War Powers Resolution. If the House votes yes on that resolution, it means that technically the Trump administration has to cease any war activities in Iran and wait for congressional approval to move forward. Having considered all the options, it's my personal opinion that I think Donald Trump is purposefully waiting out this 15-day window because he knows if he starts bombing Iran without congressional approval, he could be seriously fucked. I mean, he may not be smart enough to have figured that out on his own, but I feel like somebody in that situation room probably advised him of that fact. And I still think he's confident that the House and the Senate will allow him to do whatever he wants to do in Iran. So it's not a matter of waiting it out so that he can pretend that he was able to say no on his own. It's waiting it out so that he can pretend that he went ahead and did it on his own without congressional approval. He's also banking on the fact that nobody's paying attention to what Congress is doing at this point because they've been useless with everything else. Honestly, this situation is developing so quickly, I can't think of any other reason why he would wait 2 weeks to make a decision on whether or not to get involved with Iran. The only reason I can think of is that he knows that that's not his decision to make. We talk a lot about how Donald Trump doesn't care about the rules and does whatever he wants. But we also can't forget that he's a chicken shit. Like, underneath it all, he's also a chicken shit. Even though he's been fantasizing about being a war hawk president probably his entire life, this dick measuring contest that he calls a presidency, he's also a chicken shit. I guarantee you he is scared out of his wits to actually go to real war with real Iran. Like a kid who has somehow found his way behind the wheel of a race car, he's always fantasized about being there but has no idea what to do with it once he's presented with the opportunity.
There is something happening in America right now on your timelines, in your newsfeed, in dinner table conversation that has suddenly turned political. Iran, a nuclear weapons, Israel, war. And if you have been paying attention, you have probably noticed that some of the loudest voices in this debate are white Americans. Some informed, some furious, and a lot confused. Let's break down what they are saying and what they are missing. First, let's start with Donald Trump. Yes, him again. Trump, in classic deflation fashion, just posted an AI-generated image of Barack Obama surrounded by money with a caption that reads, "We know who is responsible for Iran's nuke program. It's 2025. Obama haven't been president in 8 years." But Trump can't help himself. He's telling the same old story, the same old scapegoats. And here's the white part. There are people still eating it up. In white conservative circles, it's almost gospel. Blame Obama for everything, even when the fact says otherwise. Let's talk facts. Under Obama, the United States signed a nuclear deal with Iran, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. It was the one real shot at containing Iran's nuclear ambition through diplomacy, not war. The deal was working. Iran was complying. International inspectors confirmed it. Enriched uranium was shipped out of the country. Nuclear sites were monitored. But what did Trump do? He put us out. No alternative, no plan B, just withdrawal. And surprise, surprise, Iran restarted its nuclear program. So when white Americans blame Obama or cheer on Trump's threat to obliterate Iran, they are ignoring the historical record. They are ignoring that Trump lit the match that reignited this fire. Now let's talk about war. Trump says if he is president again, he will attack Iran. He wants Pakistan involved. He's posturing like this is a video game. Meanwhile, Russia is sounding the alarm. They have warned that any attack on Iran could lead to regional nuclear catastrophe, hypersonic missiles, radiation fallout, millimeters from disaster. But here at home, you have got flocks cheering him on like it's a football game. Here's a clip going viral right now of a white woman defending Trump's plan to bomb Iran. Her words, they chant death to America. They deserve it. Let's be real, she's never been to the Middle East. She's never spoken to an Iranian citizen. She doesn't know the difference between the people of Iran who are oppressed, struggling, desperate for change, and the regime. But she's ready to flatten a country she couldn't point to on a map. That is not patriotism, that is propaganda. And then you have got the Tucker Carlson and Major Taylor Greenies. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not praising either of them, but even they are calling out the madness. Tucker said this war will be America's war, and Greene actually backed him. She said, foreign wars will kill innocent people and make us broke. For once, they are not wrong, and yet when MAGA world hears any dissent, they label it un-American. So now, Greene is not loyal enough. Is MAGA a cult or a political movement? Because when even your own people start questioning war, you might want to listen. But let's talk about something deeper, the selective outrage. There is this growing historic, the left supports Iran because they hate Israel. White conservatives are framing it like if you criticize Israeli policy, then you must support a terrorist regime. That is dishonest. You can stand against Iran's brutal treatment of women. You can condemn its theocratic rule. You can reject Sharia law and still ask serious questions about Israel bombing of civilians areas. You can believe in Palestinians' human rights and reject Iran's regime. The two are not mutually exclusive. But you won't hear that on Fox News. You will hear that the left loves terrorists. You will hear that if the question Israel, you are anti-Semitic. You will hear that if you oppose war, you hate America. It's lazy thinking. It's dangerous. And let's be honest, some of these white Americans don't care about Iranian people at all. They are not out here advocating for Iranian women's rights 364 days a year. They just dust off the Sharia law talking point when it helps justify another war. Meanwhile, Iranian citizens are starving, not because they are own doing, but because of the regime that bleeds them dry and sanctions that cripple the economy. Until, despite the suffering, many Iranians don't want war, they want change. But Washington's talking about bombs. Then there is this nationalistic gratitude speeches like the ones we have seen from some white immigrants who say, "Thank you, America. I can raise my kids in peace." And look, no one is taking that gratitude away. But peace for whom? Not for the kids in Gaza, not for the families in Tehran. When the bombs drop, not for the soldiers coming back home with trauma or in coffins. This is not a movie. This is not a meme. This is real life. The truth is, a lot of white Americans are stuck in a loop of nationalism, fear, misinformation, and Fox soundbites. But they are not asking the hard question: why are we so quick to bomb countries we don't understand? Why are we being lied to about who struck first? Why do we keep trusting the same politicians who profit from war? Iran is not innocent. The regime is brutal, but peace does not come from flattened cities and killing civilized. It comes from leadership, from diplomacy, from empathy. If you care about freedom, you care about democracy, then you cannot keep cheering on endless war. It's not strength, it's not patriotism, it's cowardice dressed up in red, white, and blue. White Americans, it's time to take off the blindfold. Start listening and not just talking. Start thinking, not reacting. Because the next time those bombs fall, they might land on a city that is no longer just far away. At the end of the day, this isn't about politics, it's about people. Real people, families, children, entire cities on the brink because of ego, misinformation, and propaganda. If we don't start questioning the headlines, the tweets, the fake AI posts, we are going to sleepwalk into something we can't undo. If this made you think, share it, speak up. The truth needs louder voices than ever. Thanks for watching. Stay aware, stay human.